So, I'm watching the Race to Dakar thing.
It's good, isn't
Charlie
it?
Borman.
It's good
It
telly.
is good, but it's sort of disturbing in a way. The more they get into it, and you realise how horrendous it is.
How hard, how far, how difficult.
Just even they start to hate it. Well, at the point I'm at, episode 5, they start to hate it.
I mean, it's a younger man's game, isn't it? That's for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. But it's grim.
People go back for 10 years, don't they, and do it year in, year out, and at 150 grand a pop.
I keep writing down lines from it because, and the last one I wrote down was Matt stuck in the dunes going, I am never coming here again. I never want to come here ever again. Realization, isn't it? To be saying that.
Yeah. Well, there's that bit where Matt gives up, says, right, no, I've had it. And then Simon goes off and leaves him, which he didn't want to do. But then, like, a little bit later, he comes back and went, the finish is just over there. So he carries on. Which is a cracking bit if you haven't got to that
It
yet.
reminds you, but then it's saying that's like mountaineering, isn't it? Mountaineering's great, and then all these mountaineers get into terrible trouble. There's the classic, and then the weather changed.
Yeah, and everybody dies.
And everyone dies, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
That's blokes, isn't it?
Yeah, we do these stupid things. And mind you, every time I gear up, I'm just thinking, I'm completely covered in body armour. Surely this hobby is not a sensible hobby to have. If you have to wear this much protective gear. You don't have to, but I choose to.
How do you feel? I've left orders in my will to not allow anyone to say he died doing the thing he loved.
No,
At
fucking
least
hell.
he died. No.
Yeah, I'd be fucking furious if anybody said that. I mean, it's true, but that, I'd rather have died in my sleep at, 78-ish. Not that long away, is it, really?
Unless you die having sex. I just don't think you can ever say that.
I can't comment on that. It's a bit weird.
That's just the only scenario I can think of where, okay, yeah, fair enough. Otherwise, no.
So we should have won like tinsel and stuff, shouldn't we, for our Christmas special?
How much do you get involved in Christmas?
I'm there. We've got a tree. I have children. I buy gifts for people.
Well, do you? I just saw a little Jimmy Carr reel where he was saying nobody tells you when you're a father how exciting Christmas will be, because when the kids are opening their presents, as a father, you too don't know what they're going to open.
Well, I always did.
Is that true?
I always did, actually. I always got them something because, boys' toys, isn't it? So I think a dad has got more of an idea about what to get for other small children.
Yeah.
Mentally. But I love Christmas, actually. I really enjoy it. I organised an event in our village hall last weekend, the weekend before.
Did you?
Yeah. And we put on a Christmas movie. We got loads of drink.
Yeah.
Moved a couple of sofas in there and some rugs and some lights, decorated the village hall, and had like a little Christmas party.
Well, this is all going very well so far. So far, you're coming over as a pillar of society, but it all falls on what film you chose.
Come on.
Debbie Does Dallas.
No.
What was it?
Is that Christmas? Is it even
the Christmas version?
A Christmas film? Yeah.
In December.
Debbie Does Dallas. Yeah, 25th of December. No, it was Holiday Inn. Classic Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye.
Bloody hell.
Have you seen it?
No, I don't think I have, no.
Oh, no, there's loads of people in the village who hadn't seen it either. It's like, what? How could you have not seen Holiday Inn? Hang on a minute. Yeah, because it's the classic White Christmas film, isn't it? There is a film called White Christmas with, I think, Frank Sinatra, but this is Holiday Inn, where they actually sing White Christmas.
Don't you find old films now quite a tough watch?
No, still like them.
Do you? I find it really hard to suspend my disbelief because they just look like actors who've come out of the theatre. It's all very melodramatic. It's like listening to the Archers.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
But did everyone enjoy it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was alcohol, so everybody
there was alcohol, I was going to say. Yeah.
You can't go too wrong, can you?
Yeah.
No, I think it was a lovely start to the season.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
And you organised that solely off your own back?
Yeah, that was my idea.
Oh.
Because the nearest pub is 4 miles from our house, so you pretty much can't walk back from the pub. So we have occasional pub nights in the village hall, and actually I've organised them all so far. I miss the pub.
You just can't stop yourself organising things.
Yeah. I didn't. So, I don't know. 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 this will go out the week of the pre-Dakar show, which is now sold out, which is great. It's going to be pretty full.
Yeah. It's
gonna
really
be
turning into just a bit of a get-together for us and our friends, isn't it? Because I just keep hearing loads of people saying, I'll see you there.
Yeah, no, lots of people that we know.
It's going to be like our office Christmas party, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it is our office Christmas party, but
without any party dresses.
I'm sure there'll be some dresses there.
Maybe.
Yeah. So anyway, the intention of this podcast was to reflect on the year, the podcast year.
I thought it was going to be just like the last three guests.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I think we should just do the last season.
I was thinking about this year. I feel like we've done bugger all this year. I can't remember. It's terrible, isn't it? That sounds bad. I don't remember a lot of the things we've done this year.
How many episodes?
Like massive gaps.
How many episodes do you think we've done?
Feels like 6 at the most, and I couldn't name 6.
35.
Bloody hell! I can't be involved in all of those.
This will be 36, and I've got another 2 probably coming out as well before the end of the year. So 30, 39 probably this year.
Yeah,
which is not bad because I aim to do 3 a month. I mean, we're not far off, but I am really proud of this, what we have called Season 7, which so far has been 10 episodes. We've been arranging guests a little bit by the seat of our pants. I say we, I.
You completely eclipsed. I haven't run out of people. I don't know what I've run out of. I've run out of, not even incentive. I'd quite like to find people to message. It just hasn't really happened. It used to come really easily, and recently it hasn't.
Well, I've got a list of I've got a list as long as my arm of people I would like to get onto the podcast, and lots of them have already said yes. But I remember Mav saying you're going to run out of people to talk to at some point, and I said no, I don't think we ever will, because as long as somebody's got a story and can speak, there's loads of stuff there.
Yeah,
I mean, this year some really unlikely things. I knew nothing about Adventum magazine until they appeared on Instagram.
Yeah,
with Andy and John. That's great. You've got to applaud them for giving that a go. And it's a beautiful little magazine as well. I didn't know anything about the Trans-Morocco Trail until that
that was good,
appeared.
Yeah.
Ed was brilliant, wasn't he? You'd have to get
he
Ed,
really was.
Ed,
my new best
back
friend.
on. He is like everybody that's been on it. Thomas, what can you say? Always good value.
I want to be Thomas. I think a lot of people probably want to be, like me, Thomas Hansen. In a way I am, but a very cheap man's version of Thomas Hansen.
I think it's even rude for you to suggest that you're anything like him.
He said a phrase, and I just cannot get it out of my head. He was talking about gear, I think, and he said, the nitty-gritty. The nitty-gritty. Just can't stop saying that over and over in my head, the nitty-gritty.
Did he pick that up in India, do you think, by the way you're saying it?
His English is amazing.
Yeah.
I always find that strange when he talks about how he did, well, like everyone, nobody likes the sound of their own voice. And I always think, your English and the way you speak English and the way your English sounds, it's just so wonderful to listen to, isn't it?
It is. It's very good. It's really impressive. My Norwegian certainly doesn't compare in any way, shape or form to his English. In as much as
I'm getting quite immersed in Scandinavian things at the moment. I'm trying to, at least.
We've now got at least 3 places to stay, haven't we, when we go to Norway, which is incredible. People offering us their cabins, which is fantastic.
Apparently, I heard there was a lecture on the radio this week in front of a Norwegian audience. I heard a lot of Norwegian facts. It's certainly one of the top 10 richest countries in the world, and it's in the top 10 for the happiest countries in the world.
Well, we don't really do economics and politics on this podcast for a very good reason.
A good reason.
Yeah, but
Say what you like
Norway,
about.
don't go there. Fucking don't go there. Norway has a wealth fund, though, doesn't it? So all the oil that they've drilled and...
What are you saying? They've had it easy?
No, I'm not saying they've had it easy. They've just had a government that has basically taken all the money from the nationalised oil industry and gas industry or whatever it is. I don't know the full details. And they have just created a fund, which I don't quite know how it works. It just pays for everything. It's like, where the fuck? Anyway, let's not get into politics.
Yeah.
Because I get on my soapbox and I ain't fucking getting off.
But it was interesting in that discussion I heard, because they were talking about prisons and how people deal with prisoners in various countries. But Norway very much has an attitude of rehabilitation. And a guy said it all stems from the fact that it had very isolated communities. And if your cousin or if the local joiner did something bad, you didn't want to sort of write him off. It was in your interests to rehabilitate him because the communities were so small. Everybody was very important. And that's kind of come down through the centuries and has a bearing on the way that society works now.
Absolutely. Why shouldn't prison
makes sense,
be
doesn't it?
Totally about rehabilitation?
Yeah.
Makes
They
absolute
just seem
sense.
very sensible. I always think, what would the Danes do in this situation? Anyway.
It's a good, politics.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So Thomas was wonderful, wasn't he? Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we got into the nitty-gritty enough with Thomas.
Well, we can revisit Thomas getting back on for a third time.
Yeah.
But we started season 7 with George Greenslade.
Well, that's one of my favourite ever.
Yeah.
What was it about it? It was so just whiffle waffle, wasn't it? It was just nice.
Just chatted. So George was really nervous. Remember how nervous he was?
Yeah.
And that obviously didn't come across in the finished podcast. But once he relaxed into it, it was just amazing. And I think that's the beauty of this podcast. And I think I talk about having, what do I actually say? I talk about, celebrity and, what do I actually say? Can't remember what I say now. But anyway, I think that's the beauty of this podcast, that we do get the celebrities, the travellers, and just people like us on it that haven't done a lot, but have got some good stories to tell, right?
Yeah.
And, George was ace.
Yeah.
Do you think we should do a tractor pod? There must be loads of tractor podcasts out there. If not, we should do one.
So, and he's bought CRF since, and he's very happy with it, I think. Hopefully.
Yeah, it looks that way. See some pictures. Yeah. Fingers crossed he likes it and gets on with it.
Yeah.
You do occasionally get people that buy them and then go, nah, it's not for me. It's got no power.
Didn't realise.
Yeah, it really hasn't got any power. But hey ho.
That's not true.
No, it isn't true. You just need to wring its neck constantly. So, what have been some of your highlights of season 7 or indeed
Don't ask me that.
2025?
I don't remember. I don't remember. This is great. You were just jogging my memory then about all these great people we've had on. So I don't know what my highlights are.
Well, avoiding the podcast then, let's just think about some of the things.
Sorry, I need to go back. I should have looked through the list, shouldn't I?
Yeah, I
could do that now.
Some of my favourites of 25, and we haven't mentioned the last episode. We haven't mentioned one of the last episodes we did was the exceptional Chloe Jones on the loose. Amazing. I think you messaged me after the recording and went, she's amazing.
Yeah.
And she's amazing because she doesn't even realise how amazing she is.
They're the best ones, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think it was great for me because I kind of, I tried to do as little research on these as possible, but that afternoon I had sort of thought, I better look at the YouTube stuff because it's a bit insulting to say I've seen nothing that you've ever done. So I did go through the YouTube films. But before that, I thought, it's another person who's got a C90 and has gone travelling and has worked out, he can travel on a little bike. It just wasn't like that at all from the outset. It was the way she'd done it and the way it was just with no preparation, just set this goal to go a hell of a long way. It was incredible the distance she sort of could be doing on this trip, or thought that she might be doing, but just the way she set off, it was a real inspiration in a way, wasn't it? And just great to see somebody that young doing that. Fucking hell, why? I mean, we always say this, but why were we doing that at that age? It's so annoying, isn't it? Especially when you see how easy, in a way, she made it look.
Yeah, just get on a bike and go, don't you?
Yeah, it was incredible.
Amazing.
But she has a skill to kind of back it up and keep her going. That was impressive as well.
Another highlight for me of season 7 was Grant White from Future Terrain. I met Grant. Grant, I knew, listened to the podcast. I swapped messages with him. He came along and rode the Rydell Rally with a bunch of us, which was, I think it was about, 14 or so people that listened to the podcast turned up and did the Rydell Rally, which was ace. Flipping it, Grant, what a character. What a remarkable, wrong-willed, fun guy to be around. What he's done with his charity and continues to do with his charity is, again, quietly in the background, is fantastic. I remember I was chatting to Grant and he said, I know Titch McCormack, I'll put you onto him. But by the end of the weekend, after I spent some time with Grant, I thought, I just want you on the podcast,
that's right.
Actually.
Yeah, he was amazing, wasn't he?
Yeah, really good.
Just now looking back. Yes, why do I forget about these things? I don't really forget about them. I just don't. You send me the recordings occasionally, I listen back to them, and then I do tend to set aside a little bit. I need to go. I did think about going back and listening to them from the beginning, but it's a bit indulgent, isn't it?
I don't know. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you say so.
What I always say to people, start at the end and work your way backwards until they get too shit to listen to.
Yeah.
Another highlight, we already mentioned Ed Gill and the Trans-Morocco Trail. So what a fantastic thing that is, and what a great character he was, and a fantastic chat on the podcast as well. So yeah.
Go on. Sorry, go on.
Definitely try and get him back on.
Do you ever see yourself doing the trans thing in Morocco?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
I love Morocco. It's ace.
When's that happening?
Oh, when I've retired, probably.
20, 30, 20, let's say 2026. On.
Yes, that's not happening. It might happen. It could happen. Could happen. We'll see. Some of the other things outside of the actual podcast recordings that we've done, some of the highlights of the year, of course, the Lightweight Adventurers Festival. Really enjoyed doing that. I met a load of people. That came and did stuff on our stage that had been on the podcast.
Yeah.
So the Monduro folk, Beth and Nick.
That's why it's so. Don't you find all this is very confusing, because you sort of forget who you've met, who you have only talked to on this or just communicated through on socials. Who knows who? It's funny, this world we're living in at the moment, isn't it? Of how many people we know but don't know, but sort of do know, but really don't know.
Yeah, it's a fairly small world, isn't it? There's lots of interconnections, and so yeah, it's great to meet Dan and Roberta from Noodles for breakfast. And what was really nice actually was Beth and Nick, and Dan and Roberta are like best mates by the end of the festival. That's really quite cool.
Yeah,
so it's excellent meeting people that have been on the podcast that you haven't actually met in person before.
Yeah, and it's sweet because aren't you? I mean, I'm in touch with a lot of these people, if not daily, certainly weekly, in some very, very small but amusing way, which is very nice, isn't it?
Yeah, same here. Yeah. I mean, constantly swapping messages with various people that send you stuff, listeners and people that have been on the podcast. I love it. I think what was a really special thing for me, and it happened last year, it's happening again this year, is Lel inviting us to go onto his event, the pre-Dakar event, and host some of that. And I've done a bit more of the organisation than I did last year as well.
Yeah.
And I say we've recorded one, and hopefully we're going to record another podcast with factory racers.
Yeah.
Which for me is like just out of this world, really. If you told me I'd be talking to somebody that came second and somebody that came third in the Dakar recently, I'd have called you a fool.
Okay.
So that's really good. I just like it's just great that Lel's got faith in us to go and do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about Lel. You know, when you said to me, Lel really wants you to go there, down to London, I'm still not, still can never quite believe that. I still feel you're lying to me just to get me there. Because you know how much I want to be Lel's friend, and how much he's kind of ignoring me and not inviting me to go to Morocco or something.
You're right. I find it really hard to believe as well. But it's true. It's true.
He really said, bring that other one. The guy, the other one, what's his name?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's almost word for word what he said. The other guy, the one that, like, you're straight man.
The other one, it doesn't do much.
Was it Cannon or Ball or something like that? I don't know. Whichever one that was. So that...
Yeah, I need to look him in the eye. When I get there, I'm going to look him in the eyes and see if he... In fact, I might even ask him. In fact, he can recognise me. That's the thing. Yeah, that's the test, isn't it? If he remembers my name.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, our finalists in the Sports Podcast Awards. If you haven't voted, please vote now, folk. That's fucking massive.
Is
That's
it?
Massive.
Again, I almost don't want to know if it is massive, or if it is massive, how massive it is.
So they messaged me, they emailed me and said, we would love you to apply to be in these awards. And as an independent podcast, we didn't have to pay any money to enter these awards. So you have to put a submission in to enter them. But we have been selected with, I think, 10 other podcasts, including the BBC's Formula One podcast, a Red Bull official Formula One. There's a lot of Formula One. Sky Formula One podcast, and there's 2 or 3 others with like proper professional broadcasters in, and little old us doing stuff out of our spare bedrooms in Kendal.
How?
That's something to be proud of, isn't it?
Well, it is, but how the hell have they found this podcast buried in the massive pile of podcasts?
Well, we're not. We're constantly in the various podcast charts.
Well, yeah, we're at the top of the heap, almost.
We're not quite at the top,
but we're not buried at the bottom.
We're not buried at the bottom. Probably, say currently we're in 30 different podcast charts around the world, top 30, top 40, top 10.
Gosh.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I don't really believe it, but if you say so.
I can show you the proof. Yeah. Actual proof, not my pretend proof that I don't really have.
Is it a pencil line on some graph paper?
No, look, it's actually totally for real. There we go.
You see, in many ways, I'm quite envious of you because you're sort of immersed in all this, aren't you? You see all this stuff. I don't see any of this stuff.
All of this stuff is available for you to see. So, okay, so we've got a great big long. Can't actually show you my screen.
That's just a white screen.
Let's turn that off. See if that helps.
No, it doesn't. Isn't that weird?
No.
Wow.
No, it's good reflecting. So we are currently 31st UK automotive, 39 Australia, 7 Norway, 10 Austria, 12 Switzerland, 21 Denmark, 30 South Africa, 35 Sweden, 36 Poland, 36 Ireland. Yeah, so we're
all these other people sitting in very cold parts of the house recording these things for absolutely next to no return whatsoever, or are they in plush, sumptuous Shoreditch studios?
Broadcasting house, mate.
Yeah, broadcasting house.
London, no doubt, probably.
Okay. How do we make this final transition?
Yeah. We also celebrated our 100th episode.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
It is unbelievable that. I was thinking, I was trying to remember what the number was, and I thought, it can't be 100, it must have been the 50th or the 20th.
Yeah.
The 100th.
So we did two parts to it. The second part was, of course, Adam Riemann. Have you frozen?
Whenever you say Adam Riemann, do you always, there's a little voice in your head saying, is it Ryman or Riemann?
Riemann. It's definitely a Riemann.
It's Riemann. Everybody wants to say Ryman, but actually it's Riemann.
I'm sure that's how we said it when I had a pint with him at ABR.
Yeah.
But also we did, our part 1 was us talking nonsense, and we had some special guests on it. We had Greg, Rohit, Toll-Free Traveller, Andre from Peak Riders, David Goldman, Ollie Moto, Mark and Jamie, Lightweight Adventurers, and our good lady partner wives, Rachel and Ashley. I'd forgotten about that.
No, and what was great about that was that afterwards, I think Ashley said, "Oh, that it's quite tricky, isn't it? It's quite difficult." Yes, it is quite difficult. Thank you very much. Not difficult, but I was chuffed that she didn't come easily to her, which is the irony of that, because it's just about talking. Wasn't lost on me. But she's a great podcaster to her friends, but that's another story.
Yeah.
It was lovely that because you didn't tell me about those messages. So when I heard that for the first time, when everybody else heard it for the first time, I didn't know all those messages were coming up. So it was a sweet thing to listen to.
Yeah,
so funny.
Cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
cool.
It was great.
Other highlights? Well, the Mark Wells podcasts were what a guy. I mean, he's a legend of UK motorcycling, isn't it? And I still message Mark now. Seems to be doing remarkable things at Royal Enfield.
Yeah.
So, that was great to meet him.
Yeah.
To him. And also Simon Josie from the Real Riders podcast.
That's one of our new best friends.
He is one of my new best friends.
Yeah.
He's been helping me solve some technical problems today, and he has really helped improve the podcast, actually.
Yeah.
Quietly in the background. He's a really good guy.
Yeah.
Speaking of 2025, what have we got lined up for next year?
I don't know. Why don't you remind the listeners and me what we've got lined up next year? What's happening next year?
We literally haven't actually got anything lined up at the moment, but I've got a whole list of people.
I think we have got something lined up for next year. There's one thing got lined up for next year because he messaged me today, and that was Magnus.
Oh, yeah. No, Magnus is on the list as well. We haven't. Yeah. What I meant was no dates have been set, but I think that would be ace, actually. Should we talk?
Yeah, let's talk about Magnus.
Go on then.
Magnus is the guy. Now, I haven't actually even spoken to Magnus. That was one of those that you got a stand-in for because I was away, perhaps. So when he was doing his Iron Butt stuff, it's probably years ago now, isn't it? I haven't seen that long ago. But he has this thing where him and his mates rented an industrial unit and they kitted it out with carpets and sofas and workbenches and all the kit, and they meet there on a regular basis, him and his mates, and just have a night of bike stuff. But it just looks so great, and starts to get you thinking, what would it be like to rent a little industrial unit in the UK? Well, of course, it'd be a nightmare because all your bikes would get stolen. But it's a lovely idea, isn't it?
It's a great idea. And not only is it they occasionally get together, Wednesday night is bike night. So Magnus we had to record with on a Tuesday because Wednesday night is sacrosanct. He's got 2 little kids. So to him, that's his escape once a week. He goes down there, hangs out with his mates, does some spannering, does some welding, drinks some beers. And that'd be excellent. So he's going to come on and tell us all about that, really. And maybe that will inspire people to do the same.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone does that in this country. Somebody else must be doing it around the world, but they do it. Scandinavian, they do it very, very well. Weren't you going to sort of your whole trip was going to be based around passing his house on bike night?
Well, all the Scandinavians that have been on the podcast, I was going to go and stay at the house, but you very rightly pointed out that Scandinavia is really big and that's just not going to be possible in the time I have available.
Yeah.
But really, what we've got planned for next year is just more of the same. More fantastic people to talk to from different parts of the trail and adventure motorcycle world. But there are a couple of things. So one of the things, potentially towards September, is running a motorcycle film festival
There was another thing that was muted on our YHA weekend and meet up with Adventure Spec Adam. But you've really been thinking about this and thinking it's a good idea.
Yeah. So
this idea that I had, you're thinking is a good idea.
You have all the best ideas, but then obviously do absolutely nothing with them. But so I've got roped a couple of people in to help out with it.
What? It's already it's hit the ground and it's running.
It hit the ground, it's running. It's agreed in principle that we are going to do it, and we've talked about doing it in September. We talked about doing it in the festival town that is Kendal, famous for its the Kendal Mountain Festival. So there's lots of great venues available. So that's as far as we've got.
Yeah.
Get as many of the directors, the filmmakers there as we can.
Yeah.
To do conversations with, make it a bit of a competition, have best film or, best
well, here's another one of my
choice.
Here's another one of my ideas is do a thing with the rugby club and have camping at the rugby club for anyone who's coming on a bike and camping. So you can sort of walk into town from your tent.
That is a great idea, isn't it? And they're not averse to that, are they? The Kendal Rugby Club. And the facilities there are amazing.
Yeah. So it's not too much of a walk, or it's an easy it's a cheap taxi, isn't it? It's a walk, isn't it, really? But yeah, that would work.
Yeah, it's a walk. Yeah. That's another great idea. I'm going to pretend as mine.
Yeah. Nick Jacobs, another great guest from this year, called me the other day about an idea he had for a new video series he was thinking of doing. And he pitched this idea to me and he said, it would be so great if I could do it with someone and we could sort of look at films and analyse them and talk about them. And I just want somebody who'd be really quite good at that and has a good take on these kind of things. And I was just wondering if you could ask Clive if he'd be interested in doing that.
That was actually the conversation I had with him.
And he meant me. He was asking me.
Yeah. Yeah. He did mean you. And I've actually unfriended him on everything because of that. Fuck you, Nick Jacobs.
Yeah, Nick's been a great find, hasn't he? This year.
Oh, yeah. Great lad. Great lad.
I love Nick. Very funny.
TAMP tours.
Oh, God, is this another one of my ideas you've nicked?
Well, it's not going to happen, is it? We're not going to do TAMP tours. It's just not going to happen.
We're not. Well, you say that. I'm already kind of doing TAMP tours with my. Oh God, have I told you about this? With
another fucking trip you haven't invited me to. That's what it boils down to.
Well, it's not that. It's not that. Is it? No, it's not that.
It is that.
It's not. I know. You've already declared that you're going to Spain and you're going to Norway, and
Portugal, Norway. Yeah. Do you want to come with me and Rachel?
No.
Bring Ashley. It'd be great.
But then you'll probably also have to go away with all the children that you've got. You already don't have enough holiday time for the things you've got planned. So me badgering you to come to the Alps with me and my young mates is a non-starter, isn't it?
Probably,
I
yeah, to be honest.
selected an elite bunch of young riders. This was all because my friend Rob was between. Well, it won't make me saying this because he can't get him to listen to this bloody podcast. He was between jobs and he had like a month off, and he got an Africa twin, and he said, "I'm thinking I could just go to Europe. This isn't coming out of holiday time. I'm just between jobs." And he didn't in the end. He ended up staying and just doing some home improvements and some boring stuff. But I think he was probably just not nervous about going. I don't want to say why he didn't go, but I just thought he's probably just waiting for that invitation to go with some mates into Europe. He'll love doing it, but he just can't sort of make that leap. You talked about this in the last podcast, I think, about making that leap, about just going. So I thought, well, there's quite a few people like that. So I could immediately think of 5 people that are probably just waiting to do that big European trip. So I started a little WhatsApp group.
Wasn't amongst them.
No. And so that might happen. And in a way, this could be the beginning of TAMP tours. Yeah.
But anyway, my TAMP tour, I'm possibly going to arrange something with Wilderness Wheels of Morocco as a bit of a TAMP tour. So you and I go to Morocco. Maybe we have one group doing the piste, the old Dakar routes, and one group doing the road routes, and we meet up in the evening at the same amazing hotel.
Yes.
In the sands. We can bivouac out for the night, drink flag, and eat copious amounts of couscous.
Well, this sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to be involved in this. This is great news.
Thing is, mate, like Rolf Harris said in Two Little Boys, I'd never leave you behind, mate.
Yeah.
I would probably die bleeding out on the fucking battlefield as you go off with your young mates. So what are you doing for Christmas then?
Jesus, right, you are the first person who has asked me that question. I met up with some really good friends. I'm hesitating saying it, but I'm going to just say it. We met at Wetherspoons for breakfast. That's an eye-opener in your local town, just seeing who's going into Wetherspoons first thing in the morning for a delicious pint of something.
Necking pints of lager, yeah.
I actually recognised quite a lot of faces of people that... Well, I recognised quite a few faces. After that, we came out of that congratulating ourselves that none of my old school friends and I had asked each other what we were bloody doing for Christmas. Do you get asked that a lot? I really do not like that question.
Yeah.
I think
all the time.
I think it's because I'm not a religious person. I kind of rail against it a little bit.
Really? You would think though, wouldn't you, this time of year, that just for once, like religious people to just leave religion out of it.
There's a terrible...
so we can enjoy Christmas without all the religious nonsense.
Well, yes, what said Stephen Fry say? There's a terrible hint of religion creeping into the good old commercial Christmas.
Yeah.
And there is.
Yes.
What am I doing? Just the usual.
Oh, you're getting dragged around all the in-laws, aren't you?
No, I very happily, very willingly go to my beautiful, lovely in-laws for Christmas and have a lovely...
Do they listen to this?
Yeah, do they? Hell no, but no one I know personally listens to this nonsense. Is that not the same for you?
No, everybody I know listens to it because they know how entertaining I am.
No, I don't know. I mean, that's quite telling, isn't it? Why don't the people they have enough of me in real life without having it in their ears whilst they're driving to work?
Yeah. It's the only way my kids get to listen to me, really. So it's the only interaction I have with them. But I'm stopping at home this Christmas. It's just the way I want it, really. I want to be at home. I want to be with the people I love and my motorcycles.
Yeah. Is it the same old... I'm cooking Christmas dinner for the second year running. It went down so well last year.
Well, we've got friends coming down.
This is the thing. Christmas dinner, it's the bloody easiest meal to cook ever, isn't it? You just bung everything in the oven. It's just roast everything. Yeah. The doddle. Yeah. So I quite enjoy. It's a great little... Loads of kudos for doing it. Lots of brownie points. But actually, it's a piece of piss. But don't tell anyone.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. You must cook your family the Christmas dinner.
We tend... Rachel likes to cook. We both like to cook. I'm a far better cook than she is. We'll both muck in, probably.
Just to help me gauge how posh you are in the Barber household. What? Well, two questions. What time do you have your Christmas dinner?
When it's ready, 4 or 5 o'clock.
It's quite posh. And when do you open the presents?
Straight away in the morning when everybody's
Straight away
awake.
in the morning.
Yeah. In fact, well, now we tend to go and drag the kids out of bed at about 7 o'clock because obviously they just sleep till 11 otherwise. So
What's the point? When do kids stop like waking up at 6 and start? Well, as you said, you have to start dragging them out of bed.
and they become teenagers.
It's just a teenage thing, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But another thing, you don't like presents. So why do you like Christmas?
I love presents. I don't like surprises.
Well, they sort of go hand in hand, don't they?
No, you can give people a list of things you want, and they can purchase them, and you can unwrap them. Or I just purchase them, give them to them, and say, wrap this up, give it to me on Christmas morning.
Now, do you not find, because we're sort of gear freaks to a certain extent, don't you find Christmas quite problematic? Because you might want that thing, but it has to be that particular thing, which means you almost have to send a link to Mrs. Barber saying, I want a stove, but I want this particular stove. Don't just start Googling best stoves. That's exactly
what I do.
So you just send her a link.
Yeah, and it's taken a number of years to beat her down. Go, oh, I'll get you a surprise. No, you're not buying me a surprise. You're buying me a disappointment.
But doesn't that sap the joy out of it that she's just bought you the exact thing that you sent a link for?
I'd rather be disappointed than have the thing I wanted. No, it doesn't.
Okay.
It gives me great joy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Happy fucking Christmas. Oh, that's a good point to end on. Have we got a podcast there?
Probably.